members would take their seats. It's 9 o'clock. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and it's going to be 72. And I would suggest at some point in time, everybody go outside and enjoy the weather, because in a couple of days it'll be 25. So we'll have to enjoy that part of it. We need to congratulate one of our members. He's having a birthday today, Representative Henderson. If I had known earlier, I would have baked him a cake, but instead I got him a donut. So with that, bill introductions from committee members. WebEx, who do we have on WebEx today?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Besides Connie Boehner, we have no other representatives in the WebEx.
Thank you, sir. We will take up House Bill 2462. With that, I'll turn to the reviser.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this bill deals with the Joint Committee on State Tribal Relations, and the amendment is in page 1, lines 18 through 20. It strikes the requirement that members be selected only from the standing committees on federal and state affairs, judiciary, taxation, and assessment and taxation. This Joint Committee is involved with reviewing gaming compacts and so on. It does have the ability to deal with other issues concerning state and tribal relations. It typically meets during the session once to elect to be reconstituted and so on, elect a new chair and vice chair and so forth. And it has not met yet this session. So if you've got questions, I'll try and answer them.
Thank you. It's pretty straightforward. Questions for the reviser? Oh, yes, Representative Smith.
I'm just curious, is there any objective way to explain why we would have stuck to just those committees? And I don't know if you're the one that would answer that or not, originally, why it was set up just around those committees. Doesn't make sense to me.
And from my understanding from talking to other people who've been around for a number of years, and I think we're going to hear from one of those members today. And at the end of the testimony, if we don't, then I'll tell you what I know. Would that be all right? First up, I'm going to take the minority leader from the House, Representative Tom Sawyer. Tom, I noticed that you're not on my list, so if you would be at the conclusion at some point in time, send some testimony to Connie.
We'll do that. We'll get some testimony.
Right. Please go forward.
Yeah,
and you're an old member of the Fed and State Committee, so you're welcome back.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's good to be back. Old committee.
I'm just shocked you never assigned yourself to this committee.
I also actually served on joint tribal relations back like 2003 to 2009, somewhere in there. So I'm familiar with both these committees. The requirements that go back initially when the committee was set up, so the big issues were the gaming compacts, and there were some tax issues, whether they could tax motor vehicles on themselves, on their tribe, or gas tax, cigarette tax. So I think that's why initially when Tribal Relations Committee was set up, that stipulation was put on there. But it has made it very difficult now over the years to to appoint people to that committee. Obviously, we have members of our caucus who are Native American, and they have a lot of interest in that committee. And if they're not on tax or Fed and state, we can't put them on there. So it's a tough restriction. So how we've gotten around it is, the day before they meet, we temporarily put them on Fed and state and tax, and then the meeting's over, and then we take them off. So instead of doing that, it'd just be easier if we just change the law so we can appoint the people that want to be on there.
Okay.
That's basically
Any other testimony?
That's basically it.
All right. Would you stand for questions now? Sure. Then I'll let you get out of here.
All
Questions for the minority leader? Yes, you got an opportunity here now, Mr. Ranking Member, to ask any question you want.
Chair. And Tom, when was the last time people were appointed to this committee?
Last time what?
That we appointed people to this committee? I can't remember
We
any.
do it every 2 years when we do appointments, so it would have been last year, last January, December, January last year.
Okay, I was just kind of wondering because we never hear about it.
Every 2 years. It's just like all the other joint committees. The appointments are done at kind of the beginning of the biennium.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
And if I remember last year, you appointed Representative Pankowee for 1 day to this committee so
Yes.
that you could appoint her to the
That's how we handle it to make them legal. They serve on the committee for a day.
All right. So, questions of the minority leader? Representative Heiberger, your opportunity to ask him anything. Okay. I'm just shocked Representative Miller doesn't have a question for the minority leader. Well, thanks for coming down.
Thank you. I'll get you some written testimony.
All right. We have a number of other conferees. Representative Dr. Pankowee, Vickers, Kanza. There's news I'm unaware about.
It's strange because my last time I testified in a committee, I was pregnant and I was very sick with morning sickness. So I'm glad to be back and not have morning sickness. But thank you for letting me testify. This bill, it directly impacts myself every year. Even though I've served on these committees in the past, I don't serve on them currently right now. And so I feel so bad going around asking people if we can remove them and put me on and take me off. You know, it'd be easier just to change the law and you ask why I'm doing this now. I've been on this committee for 12 years, but the reason is our Native American caucus is growing. It used to just be me and the late Representative Osterman. And as Native Americans that serve here in the legislature. And, you know, I want to help those that are coming behind me. So that's why I thought, well, you know, it's time. So, and I've served on this committee, like I said, for 12 years as ranking minority, as vice chair, and as chair. And even as chair last year, you know, we had to move people around just so I could go to that meeting. It usually is in March. And so right now, I just ask you colleagues, please help me so I can stay on this committee. And I would appreciate your help and support with this.
So I'm assuming that I know you're not on Fed and State, and you're not on the Judiciary or Tax and Assessment and Taxation. You're not on any of those committees?
No.
Okay. Questions for the conferee? No questions for the conferee? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is one of our own, Christina Haswood. Good morning. And I would say welcome to Fed and State, but I've already told you that. So.
Good morning, committee. Representative Christina Haswood. I sit on this side of the room, but today I am submitting testimony and support for HB 2462. I found myself in a situation last year, so I was appointed to this committee and having to run around. First of all, I didn't know about the statute and requirement, and also my skill sets don't naturally gravitate me towards the required committees of judiciary, taxation. My background's in public health. So I think that's another reason why we shouldn't have these required committees for people in the future who have different skill sets and to offer to our legislature. Last year, it was that running around of, I think I got appointed temporarily to the House Judiciary Committee, and it was a confusing process because the chairman saw me in the hallway and said, "Welcome to my committee," and I was like, I shouldn't be in your committee. What's going on? So then it was, oh, okay, it's the statute that you're on this joint committee for you to attend legally that we have to go through this weird process to jump hoops. So I asked for your support in passing this change of statute. I think it also benefits Indigenous issues and also our folks who are non-Indigenous, Native American, who have an interest and expertise in working with tribal law. Our issues are continuing to expand and grow. So I think this is also a really great thing for the future of the Kansas legislature. And I will stand for questions.
Thank you. Questions for the conferee? Seeing no questions, thank you. Last up is Representative Stephanie Byers. Good morning and welcome to Federal and State Affairs.
Good morning, Chairman Barker and esteemed committee members. Chokma Sahichal Thought, Representative Stephanie Byers, Chickasaw Seya. Hello, I am Representative Stephanie Byers and I'm a member of the Chickasaw Nation. I come here today as in favor of this bill. The importance of the Joint Committee on State and Tribal Affairs can never be underestimated. We understand that members of our tribal nations are sovereign as well as being U.S. citizens. So we need to make sure we keep that up. And we are fortunate in this body to have 3 legislators who are also members of the respective tribal nations. And as such, we come with a vast variety of skills, as was said to you earlier. Mine happen to be in education, so I serve on the Education Committee and on the K-12 Budget Committee. But our skills are as vast as the number of tribal nations that we have here. And so we need to make sure that representation is available to serve as needed, where it needs. So it would be my suggestion that we expand this out so that those representatives can be chosen from among all the committees that we have and not just be relegated to the 4 that are listed. And I'll stand for questions.
Thank you. Questions for the conferee? No questions for the conferee. Thank you for appearing here today.
Thank you.
That's all the proponents. I have no opponents or neutrals. I had anticipated possibly working this bill today. However, it's been brought to my attention there may be an amendment to the bill. So I will not work it today out of that. And I will close. Yes, Representative. Yes, go right ahead. And who are you directing the question to?
This is probably a question for the reviser
Okay, go right
or
ahead.
research, I'm not sure. Do we have any other standing joint committees that have this similar setup as we've heard?
I think there's requirements in some of them. We can look, and that maybe is something the research department could provide you quickly.
Yes, sir. And may I follow? The only reason that I ask that is I'd like to understand why it is that these particular committees were called in order to have that.
Because those are the most powerful committees, and you happen to sit on one.
Roger that, Mr.
So count you're fortunate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
But it involves things that have tribal relationships, judiciary, Fed and state, of course, and of course, appropriations or taxing. So.
Very well, Mr. Chair. And that was my only concern. It was the consideration when the caucus chairs have the ability to appoint those persons to those committees. Why isn't that done versus changing the statute?
Well, the majority leader and the minority leader and the speaker have that authority, not the caucus chairs. Yes, Representative Howe.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow up on that question, is there a similar requirement on the Senate side for their members to serve on this joint committee?
I think if you read subsection B of the bill, which is current law, during odd-numbered years, the chairperson shall be a member of the Senate, the vice chair shall be a member of the House. During even-numbered years, chairperson shall be members of the House, the vice chair shall be members of the Senate, and so on. The ranking minority member of the joint committee shall be the ranking minority member of the Senate when the chairperson is a member of the Senate, and so on. Is that what your question is, or what?
My question was similar committees on the Senate side. Is that a requirement?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So Senate, Federal and State Affairs, their taxation, which would be, is it called taxation in the Senate? as well?
If you look at the language, it's stricken.
Okay.
Members shall be only from membership of the standing committees on federal and state affairs. Both houses have federal and state affairs. Judiciary, both have that. And then you've got taxation, and then you've got assessment and taxation. So one's House, one's Senate.
Senate does have the same requirement. Anything further? Seeing none, then I will close the hearing on 2462. We will probably see that in a week or so after we get back from turnaround. I'm sorry. No. Yeah. The rest of the week, we're going to be on the floor. We'll be back on 1 March. We are setting the agenda for that week. I'm hoping to get some Senate bills, and I know the Senate, Fed and State has worked some House bills, which they've stripped out the contents of our House bills and put in their Senate bills. We know how that works. So I think when we get back, we've still got some House bills that we need to work. I understand the Attorney General is going to be bringing over a bill this week for introduction. While we're on the floor, we will probably have a meeting at the rail just for the purposes of introducing bills. I can't tell you what day that will be. As soon as they get me an RS number, I told them we would meet at the rail and do bill introductions. But I anticipate, I've heard some good rumors. We may be out of here late Wednesday night. So we have Thursday and Friday, and hopefully that works. But if not, we'll be working Thursday on the floor and come back 1 March and be back in committee and start working our House bills and the Senate bills if they send anything over to us. So with that, anything else for the good of the committee? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jordan Milholland, Legislative Research. Just wanted to quickly address Representative Penn's question. I have a partial response. I'd have to go back and look to make sure there weren't any others, but just quickly running a couple searches, I was able to determine that not only the Joint Committee on State Tribal Relations has similar requirements of membership in certain standing committees, but also the Joint Committee on Child Welfare System Oversight, the Joint Committee on Fiduciary Financial Institutions Oversight, the Joint Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Benefits are the ones that I was able to quickly find.
Was that helpful, Representative Penn? Thank you. Representative Miller.
Back to what you just said about scheduling, just so I understood you correctly, if the body finishes late Wednesday, it is not your intention, just because Thursday and Friday are open, to have committee meetings?
That is correct. I am not going to have it.
Thank you.
If we get out early on Wednesday night or late Wednesday night, I want you all to head home.
You said that was good news. I thought maybe as chairman, you thought it was good, then you could have committee meetings.
No, not this time. Maybe next time. Anything else for the good of the committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned, and thank you, folks.